Good morning, viewers and listeners of Concerned Citizens Media. Thank you again for joining me. Today is April the 12th, 2022. So I have some news to share with you. The first one is the uh, war, the bloody war going on in Oromia region in Ethiopia. This is very well coordinated by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed and the Oromia Regional State to defeat, according to their plan, to defeat Onak Shani, as they call it, within a month. That's their plan. So very bloody, very well coordinated, well armed forces from Amara region, Somalia Regional State, from Oromia, plus the federal security forces, in addition to the Eritrean forces, plus the Ethiopian Defense Force. So this is very, very huge operation, bloody operation going on in Oromia region. So it's very tough one, very tough one. So now the international attention is in Ukraine. So now Abiy is trying to use this gap to wage a war. There was a war going on in Oromia for more than 4 years, but this one is very well planned, well armed, well financed, and the entire country now taking its force to fight in Oromia. So the Tigray issue, the Tigray region issue, is now is imposed now, because now the attention is in Oromia now. So all the forces, all the machineries, including weapons brought from Turkey, now in use in Oromia region. Very bloody war. So what we're gonna witness in Oromia now, the same thing happened in Tigray region. There is a possibility to witness mass rape, burning of properties, looting of properties in Oromia, and mass killings, mass detention, and other atrocities we witness in northern part of Ethiopia now will be witnessed in Oromia region in a wider sense. Wallagga, Borana, Guji, all this area, including the central Shoa, West Shoa and Central Shoa region. So that is a situation, very tough one, very serious, very bloody. And even though for now OLA reporting some victories, this could be a very tough battle. One group with all these forces brought from Somalia, Eritrea, Amara, and all the Oromia special forces, federal agencies, plus. So this is a very tough one, not only for OLA, but the Oromos in general, the Oromos living in Oromia in general. They could face massive atrocities and other abuses that happen in northern part of Ethiopia could happen in Oromia region. So, the Oromos now, it is time for you to act like Tigrans. They did the best, and they are still doing it. Never tired to speak for their people, day and night. So they are victorious at this time, even though more to do. They are, stable for now. The region is in their control, except the western part of Tigray. There is some issue right there, and except the Eritreans challenging them, at least in some percentage, they are in much better position, thanks to the fighters at home and those the diaspora community. So the Oromos, they should learn, they should speak up against this oppression, and they should raise awareness to the international community. The international community is now paying too much attention on Ukraine. Every day is Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. So uh, we should speak up. We should raise awareness. What is going on in Oromia? The bloody war, very bad atrocity happening in Oromia. So we have to raise awareness. We have to speak up. We have to demonstrate against this bloody war, coordinated by the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. The Prime Minister refused to settle this issue through peaceful means, through dialogue. So he want to, destroy Oromia and the Oromo people for one person power, for his, uh, power, to stay in power. That's the only thing, to destroy all humanity for one person. You know, so this is the situation now. He refused to settle the issue. He refused to negotiate with this group. He refused the elders, the Abagadas call for peaceful resolution on the conflict going on in Oromia. But what we can do? So he has a power, he has authority. Nobody can challenge him. Now the bloody war is going on in Oromia, and we pray for our people to be safe and an end to this massive oppression. So we call on the international community to pay attention and to restrain this bloodthirsty person from killing people, and force him to stop the war. Stop the war. So Oromos, is on us, on you, to speak up against this genocide. This is very bad one, and it's ongoing, it's active at this time. It's a massive military operation. So please raise awareness, speak up against it, and stop the genocide. And also our brothers from Somalia region and other regions, please stay away from this war. Uh, you know, the Oromos and the Somalis are, they have been living together for many generations. So you have to stay away from this bloody war. Stay away from this order given by Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. This is for one person's power, not for the people. The country is collapsing. He don't care. He want to crush everyone for the sake of his power. So that is the situation, and the international community, the US, European Union, United Nations should pay attention. Even though they are busy with the Ukraine issue, they should pay attention what is happening now in other part of Ethiopia, not in northern, but in Oromia region. So I have some press release from Oromo Federalist Congress, also Odaa Tarbii tweeting about this operation, and some other news. Thank you again. So this is a very serious one, very bloody war, and we are following it. And so I can report to you if I see some breaking news on this one. Very tough one. So pray for the people of Oromo, the people of Oromia, and for their safety at this very challenging time. at this heavy operation happening by the order of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, this bloodthirsty person. Thank you again. Let's see what Odaa Tarbii, OLA-OLF International Person, tweets, couple of tweets on this ongoing operation. In the initial engagement with Mustafa Umar's forces, these are forces from Oromia Regional State, the Oromo Liberation Army captured several AK-74 rifles along with other weaponry. At this time, 168 regime soldiers have been killed and 3 have been captured on those engagements. The Oromo Liberation Army has also procured over 80 pistols, 58 rifles, 42 grenades, and several thousand rounds of ammunition. Odaa Tarbii continued to it. The captured Ethiopian National Defense Force fighters are safe and receiving medical care. They are but pawns in Abiy's game to maintain his dictatorship. Often, the regime refuses to collect the bodies of its own slain fighters. They are either left to the elements or buried by Oromo liberation troops. So these are a couple of tweets, a couple of highlights on the operations from Odaa Tarbii. So this is bloody war in both sides. In both sides, people are dying, and these are the same citizens fighting each other. And this guy refused to settle this internal civil war in a peaceful manner. Refused. The elders begged him, the politician begged him, asked him to settle. He refused. He refused. He is bloodthirsty. And he and his group. This is from Oromo Federalist Congress press release, the following statement. OFECO calls on government OLA forces to end war, negotiate Amara forces to cease incursion, attack inside Oromia. The Executive Committee of the Oromo Federalist Congress, OFC, today issued a statement discussing the current state of affairs, including the government's renewed offensive against the Oromo Liberation Army, OLA, and the incursion of Amara forces into the Oromia region. The statement also discussed the soaring inflation and urged the government to dispose of its responsibilities by containing the conflict that is disrupting the economy. As an outcome of an executive committee meeting of the OFECO on April 9, 2022, and regarding the current state of affairs, the executive committee has released a presser. The presser was inclusive of 3 major points. Firstly, the executive committee discussed the ongoing war between the Ethiopian government and the Oromo Liberation Army, OLA. The OFC urged the government to retract from its eliminating Shane government's term for OLA rhetoric and replicate the same pattern for peace it has started in the northern civil war for the disputes within Oromia, as well as saying that this new military campaign will only dampen the newly opened narrow window for peace and put Oromia and the entire country into a precarious situation. OFC also asked both parties to offer the necessary care for innocent human lives and property. Secondly, the Executive Committee discussed the increasingly worrying security situation between the neighboring Oromia and Amara regional states. The OFC accused armed forces originating from the Amara region of having declared war and trespassed on recognized administrative boundaries of Oromia and proceeded to invade the land and expand their territory. It indicated that East Wallagga, Horro Guduru Wallagga, North Shoa, West Shoa, and its zones as per the information gathered from its members and the locals within these areas, East Wallagga, Horro Guduru Wallagga, North Shoa, West Shoa, and its zones were especially affected. It also further claimed that it has come across information that challenges the assertion that these forces operate outside of the auspices of the Amara regional government, saying that it was Amara special forces would appropriate 280 hectares of land from the Kanbebit Warada, North Shore zone, whilst evicting farmers of Oromia. The Executive Committee also mentioned that Fantale Warada, which was the site of recent violence, has experienced such encroachments from entities within the Amara regional government. OFECO went on to underline that such actions not only contradict the Constitution but also generate scenarios for outright war between the two regions and emphasized an immediate stop to such affairs. Lastly, the Executive Committee discussed the escalating cost of living. In the discussion, it was stated that the prices of food grain, house rent, edible oil, commodities, fertilizers, cereals, etc., are hiking to the extent that people could no longer afford food, clothes, and shelter. The committee asserted that the main reason for the high cost of living was the fact that the country was in a state of civil war, which, according to the statement, has disrupted the peace and stability of the country and has slowed down domestic and foreign trade. It further went on to state that the civil war in the country has led to a reduction in the productivity of farmers and factories and foreign investment. It also stated diversion of the government's development budget to war and the reduction of foreign aid and loans contributed to the country's economic collapse. OFECO accused the government of evading its responsibility. It stated that while the aforementioned factors were the reasons for the current situation in the country, the government was fixated on pointing its fingers at the business community. It described that the government's actions could temporarily divert people's attention from it for the time being, but it would not help fix either the rapidly declining economy or reduce the cost of living. OFC underlined that the only solution was to stop the civil war, which, according to the statement, is turning the country upside down. The statement concluded by reiterating the party's belief that the only solution to the country's insecurity and high cost of living is to end the ongoing civil war in various regions and resolve political differences through dialogue. It called upon the government and any armed forces to hold a forum aiming at fixing the economic crisis, helping the suffering people, and saving the country from dismantlement. Credit at this standard. So that is very serious warning and also an advice for Ethiopian government to settle this issue through dialogue, through peaceful means. But I don't think Abiy Ahmed want to hear something like that. He just show his muscles. He don't care about all the bloodshed he created in North. Now he try to create the same bloodshed in South in Oromia region. So he don't care. He don't care. As long as he stay in power. As long as he stay in power, he don't care how many people died and how many people suffer, how many properties damaged. He don't care. He cares about his power. So that's very strong statement of ECO, Oromo Federalist Congress. Thank you. We appreciate you for speaking up. Other political parties also should speak up. You know, all these, so many political parties, but all of them are silent. They are, you know, thinking this may be advantageous for them in the future. So they are silent. So thank you, Ofeko, for speaking up. This is a press statement from United States Department on the report, the Amnesty report on Western Tigray. The United States is, you know, actively following the northern part issue, especially the Tigray issue, very actively. We need that attention, what is happening in Oromia too. I know they are paying attention, but not enough attention is given to Oromo's suffering under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed for the last 31 years, I think, 27 plus the 4 years under Abiy Ahmed. So not enough attention is given by US, but we need that attention. The United States reiterates its grave concern over continued reports of ethnically motivated atrocities committed by Amhara authorities in Western Tigray, Ethiopia, including those described in the recent joint report by Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International. In particular, we are deeply troubled by the report's finding that these acts amount to ethnic cleansing. We note with the utmost alarm that thousands of Ethiopians of Tigray ethnicity reportedly continue to be detained arbitrarily in life-threatening conditions in Western Tigray. We urge the immediate release of any such remaining detainees and call on relevant authorities to grant international monitors access to all detention facilities. It remains our firm position that there must be credible investigation into and accountability for atrocities committed by any party to the conflict as part of any lasting solution to the crisis. We urge the government of Ethiopia to cooperate with the United Nations Commission of Experts on Human Rights in Ethiopia. Continued reports of atrocities underscore the urgency of ending the military conflict. We strongly support the declaration of cessation of hostilities by the government of Ethiopia and the Tigray Regional Authority and welcome the news that they have been followed by initial convoy of life-saving assistance. In keeping with these declarations, we renew our call on all armed actors to renounce and end human rights abuses and the violence against civilians. The United States reiterates its call for all foreign forces to withdraw from Ethiopia as well as for the regional state authorities to remove their security forces from neighboring regions. We continue to urge all parties to take the necessary steps to ensure the cessation of hostilities in unhindered and sustained humanitarian access, transparent investigation into human rights abuses and violations by all actors, and a negotiated resolution to the conflict in Ethiopia. So we appreciate the United States for their continuous active expression of concern in Tigray, but we need the same attention. I know they are calling on all armed actors to end hostilities and credible investigation. I hope it will happen, but under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, these are all, impossible. But now for some reason, he accepted the issue in northern part, and now he's focusing in Oromia region. Maybe that's, OLA may be threatening his seat. That may be serious for now. So he wants to slow down the northern part action and now engage in Oromia with all capacity, with full capacity to destroy Oromia region and the Oromo people. So we need the United States attention to call on Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed to end this hostility, this bloody war in Oromia, and call upon him to settle the issue in a peaceful manner. Iran says to get assets unfrozen in South Korea. Iran confirmed Monday that it will receive part of its $7 billion assets unfrozen by South Korea by the end of this week. Anadolu News Agency reports. Foreign Ministry spokesman Saeed Khatbazad told a news briefing in Tehran that the necessary framework for unblocking the assets has already been identified and agreed upon. He said a high-level delegation from a regional country will be visiting Tehran this week to finalize the mechanism for unblocking what he called significant assets without mentioning the country's name. Tehran has accused Seoul of freezing more than $7 billion in foreign exchange reserves under U.S. pressure. The issue has led to frayed ties between the two countries spilling into different areas. In January, Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Ali Bagheri told his South Korean counterpart Choi Jang-kun on the sideline of the Vienna nuclear talks that Seoul was obliged to release Iran's frozen assets and that U.S. sanctions cannot justify its non-payment. The official announcement on Monday followed days of intense media speculation that frozen assets would be released and transferred to Iranian bank account on the pattern of framework under which the UK released Iran's assets. Reports are doing rounds that Iran assets in South Korea would be unblocked in exchange for the release of 3 Iranian Americans, Morad Tabas, Bakar Namazi, and Simak Namazi, who are jailed in Iran. Apologies for the pronunciation of some names. Last month, the UK released 530 million it owed Iran for a cancelled arms deal in 1970 in exchange for the freedom of 2 British Iranians jailed over espionage charges. Iran has more than 100 billion assets frozen in foreign countries, including South Korea, Iraq, Japan, Canada, among others. The funds were frozen soon after former US President Donald Trump withdrew his country from the 2015 nuclear deal and reimposed tough sanctions on Tehran. According to sources, the deal to unfrozen assets in South Korea is unrelated to the Vienna talks, which have been suspended due to some key sticking points between Tehran and Washington. Credit Middle East Monitor. So that negotiation is still going on. Trump withdrew, but Biden decided to engage with Iran and to, settle the nuclear issue and all these unfrozen assets. So I hope they will agree. So that's the reading part. Let's couple of videos, very short videos, then end today's presentation. Thank you again for taking the time with me. Let's see. There we go. There we go. There we go. The first one is the crisis in Pakistan and the removal of the prime minister and replacing him with a new one. So that's interesting, really. They call on the parliament and they conducted what they call a no confidence vote on the Prime Minister Khan, and they removed him. He challenged them in the court, but that was defeated by the opposition party. Then now Pakistan has a new prime minister, and that's good of democracy. That's an example of democracy. I wish we have something like that in Ethiopia. The Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is joking on Ethiopians and belittling the minds of Ethiopians and giving them trashy answer for inflation, the bloody war, everything. He just carelessly. And if we have no confidence vote, we could easily remove him, but we don't have. I hope we will have something like that in the future. So when the prime minister acts like childish and giving you childish answer for serious matter, the matter affecting the people, the war, the inflation, unemployment, and all the crisis. Let's listen.
Shehbaz Sharif has taken oath as the 23rd Prime Minister of Pakistan. Mia Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif Sahab is declared to have been elected as the Prime Minister of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. Sharif was elected with 174 votes after Imran Khan was removed in a vote of no confidence and the opposition boycotted the election.
If we are to save the sinking boat, what we all need is hard work and unity.
So this is a new prime minister now.
We are beginning a new era of development today.
Known in Pakistan as an administrator who gets things done, at the age of 70, Shehbaz Sharif was the joint leader of the opposition that toppled Imran Khan in a no-confidence vote.
Sharif entered politics and then led Pakistan's most populous province and built major infrastructure projects. In his hometown Lahore, he successfully brought in investment from China and Turkey. He's also had good relations with the US. Analysts say he will need to mend fences after the outgoing prime minister accused his opponents of being politically manipulated by Washington. Shahbaz is the younger brother of former Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, who was dismissed following allegations of corruption. He's facing a money laundering case and corruption charges brought by the Federal Investigation Agency and the National Accountability Bureau. Both brothers say the allegations leveled under Imran Khan's premiership were politically motivated. And in 2007, Sharif criticized the Accountability Bureau investigating him.
NAB, which is an institution, controlled by Musharraf, equivalent to Hitler's, Gestapo, National Accountability Bureau, which does selective accountability.
And other opposition politicians also accused it of being a tool used for political witch hunts. In subsequent years in power, the Muslim League government left the bureau unchanged. Out of all politicians, Shahbaz Sharif is widely considered to be the most acceptable to the military establishment. And those who came together to topple Imran Khan's government are hoping that the army will maintain what it calls its neutral status. Even if Shahbaz Sharif remains the prime minister until elections next year, he will still not become a prime minister who completes a 5-year term in Pakistan, as none have done in the country's 75-year history. Osama bin Javed, Al Jazeera, Islamabad.
Okay, this is the last video. Ukraine artillery unit practicing and a preparation to fight Russia. Okay, that's a little bit of how soldiers are living. So thank you, viewer. So that's the short videos I have for you. Thank you again. So, if we have something like Pakistan, Abiy Ahmed will not play with Ethiopians' blood for the last 4 years. And he could not enjoy by joking on Ethiopians' life, by littling them, by just trashing them. Really, that's trashing 100+ million people when they were asking about the inflation, the cost of living, and he just answered them, yeah, just you don't need to eat something like banana and bread or just some kind of wheat. There's no serious answer. That's why I'm saying we should create no confidence vote in Ethiopia. Really, he could be easily removed and replaced by other serious individuals who can handle the business in a very serious manner, who cannot lie to Ethiopians and to the global community. But we don't have that system, so he will continue the bloodshed. He will lie to Ethiopians. He will belittle Ethiopians. He will disregard their questions, and he will disregard all the Abagadas, senior leaders' requests for peaceful settlement of all the issues, because we don't have the system to remove him. We don't have the system to remove him. The only thing maybe, I don't know. So that's a very serious situation. And I'm going to conclude by saying the bloody war is ongoing in Oromia. The international community, please help Oromos from dying, from suffering more under Prime Minister Abiy. Call upon him to stop this bloody war, end this bloody war, and make him accountable for, for his aggressiveness and aggression against the Oromo people. He is already a criminal. Now a criminal is conducting more crimes on Ethiopians because nobody held him accountable. He is still in power, so he can do whatever he want to do. That's the challenge we are facing. And Oromos in diaspora community, do something, speak about this thing, speak against this war, bloody war. And if not, everything happen in northern part of Ethiopia will happen extensively in Oromia region. The rape, mass arrest, mass killing, burning of properties will happen. And we beg, I beg on the international community, the United States, European Union, United Nations, to speak up against this thing and to stop this madman from destroying life. That's all I'm going to say for today. Thank you, and be safe, everyone.